Hello and welcome to Headliners once again. Your first look at Tuesday's top stories with three top comedians. First things first, hot off the press, let's crank through the front pages. We have the Mail. Billions in budget still won't cure NHS, admits Streeting. The Telegraph, NHS will need more tax rises, signals Reeves. Times, tax rises won't cure the NHS. Labour concedes. Consensus emerging here. Guardian, budget vow to rebuild. Broken, not beaten NHS, surely blooded but unbowed. The Mirror, Labour's war on waiting lists. And the Star, jet me out of here. Those were your front pages. So, Kerry, let's kick off with the Daily Mail.
Oh, how exciting.
Oh.
Let's do that.
OK.
You go first.
I will go first. Well, the Daily Mail was at the top. Free Halloween sweets from M&S, which is not a story. It's just an advert for M&S. But there you go. It will stop
Toxic
children banging on doors.
I thought it meant free Halloween
sweets.
sweets. I don't know who's being held hostage now. It sounds like that. They're being...
Free the Halloween sweets.
Yeah.
It's so unfair. It's got to stop. OK, so... billions in budget still won't cure the NHS, and this is Wes Streeting, who's the Health Secretary. And the budget, the very painful budget, which we're about to have, is going to have billions for the NHS, but even then it won't stop them raising taxes. Rachel Reeves has been warning the same thing today, saying that taxes will go up. What's been going on is that for a very long time we've been saying that the NHS is the best in the world until we stopped noticing that it wasn't anymore. And we've talked about this before. It's ageing facilities. They're still using PAGERS, which after recent events, I think everyone's a little worried about those, and fax machines and homing pigeons. And really, it's about time that they moved on. And I'm a big fan of the NHS. You know, they've saved my life twice. Once from a heart attack and once from... I had an appendix out when I was... I think about 13, and they got it just at the last moment.
I think you've had your lot, haven't you? I think you've
Is that all I'm allowed?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah,
you get
Two and I'm out.
one more, and I've been very cautious.
No, I've had a brain hemorrhage and burst ovaries, so do you know what I mean? Really,
On the NHS?
Who wins?
Yeah, on the NHS.
Good
Yeah,
grief.
but my...
Oh, no, absolutely.
No wonder I'm supporting the pair of you.
Exactly, a burst brain and a burst ovary.
I have never spent a night in hospital.
Really?
Not one single
Well, maybe
night.
you should.
No, well, maybe I should.
Go to hospital. I'm going to call an ambulance for you now.
I am the only thing keeping this institution afloat. Seriously, though, it's like, as you're saying, it cannot be fixed, or we haven't got enough money to fix it now, or...
Not even with billions, no. I mean,
Well, how much do we need? That's the question. Should we not find out how much we need and then work backwards? And then do a fundraiser or a GoFundMe?
Or how about a completely new system? How about admitting that it was a socialist idea that has seen its time out and can no longer be trusted to do the job?
No, I tell you who can't be trusted to do the job. It's the people that have their appointments and then don't go.
Oh, you think they're the problem? The people not having operations?
Yeah,
they're one of the problems.
Showing up with burst ovaries every other month.
People not going when they should be going. No, there is a lot of point. It costs the NHS millions.
Do
by
they
not
burst
turning up.
audibly, by the way? Is it like a pop?
No. It's not an oral. It's just agony.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Oh, hold on, I didn't get any of these questions about my appendix.
We
that
all
nearly
know,
burst, you
we
know.
all know what
It
your
was very near bursting, yeah.
lifestyle...
It's
It's the same as what you had.
It's not the same. If it doesn't burst, it doesn't count.
We all know what your lifestyle has been like for the last 30 years.
No,
So
these are rumours, horrible rumours
Any
get spread on this
sympathy
programme. I'm an example to humanity, actually.
Let's have a look at The Guardian. They've got the same story. And then also the sacking of the Man United manager, and Tommy Robinson jailed for contempt of court. Who's got something on that?
Well, I like the jail for contempt of court because I like that they're bargaining with him, aren't they? It's like if you take the film down that you put out that caused you contempt of court, then you can have less time in prison.
A little bit of probation.
Yeah, it's just...
He actually used the judge used the word purge. You can purge yourself. It's slightly religious, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like having a hangover and purging yourself.
It's like a monkish thing. You purge yourself of your sins, Hail Marys and flogging himself.
But I didn't think that the court system worked like that on a sort of,
well, it's ongoing.
barter basement.
The more you admit it, the more months we take off your sentence.
Bit of bartering.
Really admit it.
No, but it's not admitting it. He's still doing it. That's the point. The video is...
No, but I think the purge was if he admits to more false... or removing the false claims from the social media accounts.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. He's still... The thing that he has done, the contempt of court that he has done, is to publish the film silenced on his Twitter.
Yeah.
50 million people have already watched it.
54 million. And the more we mention it, more people are going to watch it.
Well, I think this is right. I'm sure it'll have another surge. So as long as he leaves it up, he is still committing the contempt of court. So it's not that he's saying sorry or he's like...
Yes, absolutely.
He's literally still doing it right now.
Yes,
then
absolutely.
How does that work then if he is in contempt of court for putting that film out? He's been offered 4 months off a sentence if he takes the film down. If he doesn't take the film down...
He'll do the full 18 months.
He'll do the full 18 months. Is there an extra charge or time if it stays up?
No, I think that's double jeopardy. I think then he's done, isn't he? But I would imagine it will have served its purpose by then.
4 months.
Have you watched it?
Did you watch it?
I have watched it.
Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it, no.
Have you watched it?
Do you know watching it is a sackable offence? You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
No,
oh,
okay.
really? Oh, that's great. So I can go.
Goodbye,
See you later. It's been lovely knowing you.
Have you watched it, Simon?
Do I still get paid?
I have watched it, though not in the UK jurisdiction. I made very sure that I wouldn't be tantamount to supporting a crime.
You went out the country to have a look,
really?
did you?
Oh,
Over to the Isle of Wight. International waters. Paddled out on my paddleboard from Hove.
Hang on a minute, Simon. You're telling me genuinely it's a crime to watch it?
It's not a crime to watch it, no.
God, I'm gutted.
No, it's not a crime to watch it. I find contempt of court quite an odd phrase anyway. Like, you don't respect the court.
It's how you elevate things from a civil offence to a criminal offence.
Yes, I know.
Well, the idea that you're in court in the first place is probably because you've got contempt of court, because you've done something wrong.
So anyway, he's got
neighbours, usually. Yeah.
He's got 18 months, and it's Tommy Robinson. I love the fact after Tommy Robinson, they always have to say who is Stephen Yaxley Lennon.
Yes.
What's the point in changing your name if people are going to do that? Do you have to change your name when you're younger? Maybe
I don't know whether. I don't care how you feel about Tommy Robinson. It is wrong to dead name him.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
If there's one thing that the
don't like
progressives have established,
he should have just called himself far-right activist.
that would have confused them.
That's what he
They
gets
just have to
called all
repeat
the
it
time.
twice.
All right, more than 3% to the left. Let's have a look at the Daily Telegraph. Oh, did you have something more you wanted to do off the Guardian?
No, I was going to mention the Israel bans
UNRWA.
It's a bit of a heavy
go ahead
subject,
then,
of course, but of course, Israel keeps finding out more and more evidence on UNRWA. And, really, the UNRWA thing goes back a long time from when they first started. Their job was to rehouse people who were ethnically cleansed from many different countries.
Yeah.
And they basically completely failed when it came to the Palestinians and decided they had to have a state, created the law of return, which in itself seems quite righteous, except if you're doing that for around about 700,000 people, but not for around about 90 million people who are all forced to move at the same time, then it's a very questionable law. And it's particularly questionable because the reason why we don't do that is because it causes wars. That's why the war is happening, because you've got two groups with the same rights to a state in the same place.
Is that, though, that's not why they've banned it. They've banned it because it's
I'm saying that's the starting point. I'm saying that from the very beginning of UNRWA, it was a political movement when it was supposed to be a peace movement.
Right.
And you look at all the evidence coming out now that just about every school and hospital in Gaza has got tunnels running through it, and there's loads of whistleblowers now saying that they constantly saw armaments and so on being brought into these things. But also their teaching aides taught things like how to do maths by counting dead Jews, which I don't think was very helpful.
Was that in curriculum?
I think yes, it is actually in the teaching books they were giving out.
The UNRWA
and UNRWA keep finding themselves not guilty, which is laughable in itself. And there really needs to be an outside body looking into all this information.
That's like the police commissioning that investigates itself and finds itself not guilty, isn't it?
Yeah. Who will guard the UN? The Daily Telegraph have more news about the NHS. What else have you found on there?
Oh, there's Melania and Donald giving themselves an ear kiss. It looks like they're part of Strictly.
Yes, we'll be talking about... The headline is Trump disowns comedian over Puerto Rico joke, but we'll be talking about that later, I think. We're not going to float that for now.
I mean...
Tech giants ignore harm to children while profiting from them.
Oh, there's a surprise.
This is social media companies rather than trans, but...
They basically the article is about how the social media companies make money out of children and at the same time do a lot of damage to children, which is hard for them not to do because they're making a lot of money out of children because children use social media. And I do think there's some odd effects we're seeing from it. There's more and more children becoming activists about things now, which seems very strange and sort of like out of place. And of course, there's the Jonathan Haidt campaigns to remove phones completely from schools.
Well, that's what the whole
which I think
point
has a lot of
was to
sayings that look
take
good for it.
phones off children
you have
in
children,
education.
Jojo?
Just the 4, yeah.
4.
Yeah.
How old are they?
33, 30, 28 and 21.
So they were out of your hair before smartphones really became a thing by the time.
Well, they're 3 and 1. So the older 3 were pre-mobile phones.
Okay.
The youngest one is a Gen Z, which means she's the first adults.
Well, you're running a little experiment. Is she noticeably more anxious?
She's noticeably more smart.
Oh, is she?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Finn.
There you
She's
go.
the one that's really
N
quite...
equals 4, but still, that's something.
She's the one that's grown up without ever knowing a world before the internet.
Yeah, my
which is
son used to try and
incredible
sort of
to
pinch to expand physical objects and so on by
Yeah.
the age of about 3.
But then, at the age, she was using...
But she wasn't bullied on Instagram. She wasn't...
I think there is. There's much more that thing of it was that constant, but then they know how to then deal with it because they've grown up with social media and the internet. I was kind of...
It's a massive pressure, though, isn't it, on an adolescent that they're
Oh, yeah,
sort of going to be
hugely.
judged by things
by the
they
age
write
of 3, she was, she was using my banking app to order games online.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
She was,
The main thing...
I've been doing
Uber,
that. You
Uber,
leave your
that's the
phone
one we
lying
gotta
around
worry about.
sometimes and can't help it.
Oh, that's where they've all gone.
Jojo, have a look at the Times for me.
What do you want me to do? Oh, the tax rises won't cure the NHS.
We've done that. Fertility
We're gonna
rate
keep it
hits
up.
record low in baby, but that's
Right.
going to cure the NHS's woes.
Right, OK, somebody has to make things make sense to me, OK? So the fertility, it's a record low, baby slump, everybody's panicking because there's not going to be any babies born. But then David Attenborough keeps on banging on about the fact that there's too many of us, so I don't know which one it is.
They were displaying from the wrong end, though.
All right, OK. Yeah. So we want to get rid of some
We're all
but
getting
not the
blocked
rest.
up at the far end.
All right,
not
OK, so we're an
emerging as the new
ageing
ones.
population.
Well, David Attenborough may be right. Of course, David Attenborough has one set of concerns, doesn't he? Namely, the environment.
The environment, but the population...
The economy has another set of concerns, which is that if there aren't enough people working to support the pensioners... Pensioners like to have this idea. We all have this idea that our pensions are sitting there in a pot waiting for us. No, they're not.
No.
They are essentially taken from the tax raised from working people.
Yeah, so we need people to be born to make money.
Yeah.
Right. OK, but also it's interesting as well because the fertility rate it's in different areas. So it's hit a slump in certain areas, so Cambridge and Berkshire and places like that. But then in other areas, there is, in terms of population, Luton and Dagenham and Barking, the population babies is 3.9.
You sound like you're doing a Danny Kaye song or something.
Am I doing a Danny Kaye song? Is it? Well,
could
I'm
well
number
be.
1 hit.
Lewisham,
I think
Pocketing and Darking.
Lewisham. Yeah.
What the article's more about, though, is just that British women are being traitorous to our country by not having enough babies and enough sex. So they're letting the side
They
down.
might be having enough
Really.
sex, Kerry. They're just not having
Well, they're not having
babies
good
afterwards.
sex and producing.
It's because we're not in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant anymore.
We have to get back to the lie back and think of England. That we dropped that phrase, and it's now become very relevant again. And so more women need to be having sex in this country. And as a campaign, I'm willing to help out.
Distinctly unpleasant aroma, I somehow...
What, from Kerry?
What are you
talking about?
Man at the end of the table.
There are baby deserts going on, Simon.
Oh,
As
babe.
the